Okay, so I just got this lock picked. I've only done a single modification to it, and it isn't to any of the pins. This is all stock pins. Well, okay, one of the pins is filed down a little bit because I didn't have a pin that was the right size. And there's 6 of them in there, and it's the one on the end that I had to file down, but I didn't modify the pin in any way, like, other than shortening it a little. So it's all stock pins, and it took me 2.5 days to pick this thing. This is absurd. I'm gonna do a disassembly video for here. I'm not locking it and picking it again. And the reason why I'm not doing that is because it was 100% chance. Like, I know it. Like, I built this thing, so I know it. Now, I do have the key, but I just wanted to get it on camera unlocked before I do that. Here's the bitting, and that may or may not have something to do with why this has been so much trouble. Take the circuit off first. Alright. That's number 2. And I don't know if the springs will come out of there because she's a little bit full of oil. Oh, there's a couple of them. Alright, those are the only two who wanna be here today. So see, these are all standard pins. Well, no, they're not standard. They're all factory stock, though. It's better light. I don't really know if that's helping the situation, to be honest. But yeah. So that's been 2 days of my life, just getting that open. And it was fully chance. I was just kind of like, let's wiggle the pick around and get started, and it kind of popped open. So, totally a fluke. It might have just been that some of the pins were already set from pulling the key out. I don't even know. But I'll take it. You should see the other one. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show here. Y'all have a good one. Okay, it's the same log body. I put the other core in it. I just got it open with the other core. I ain't take it apart on camera, if I can. Because this is probably the most hardcore lock I've ever picked. Unless, of course, I open this up and it's all broken on the inside and that's how it opened. But, we'll see. We'll see. This thing is pretty hideously demonic. And it has been busting my balls since I finished putting it together the way it is now, which has been maybe a couple of days. A little less than a couple of days. Oh, there. This thing just wanted my blood, and I kind of gave it to it. Okay. Key's right there, but I think I'm gonna... don't think I need it. Because I gotta shim the fuck out of it anyway, so this might be easier. Is it open the right way? Oh, it's not. It's easier to get apart if it's the other way. Ooh. Okay. Should be alright. Okay, that's all the way. Follower. That's the retainer for that. It's went in that hole. I'm not turning it upside down to show you the other hole right now, for obvious reasons. Alright. Oh, these are so tiny. Alright, I'll turn it around afterwards. That's the fun one. I hope that's turning up on camera properly. Don't lose that. Fuck. Oh no. Oh, that's gonna be a problem forever. Okay. How did I do that? Oh, okay, that's a mystery for later. I'll figure out why those are magnetized at a later date. Okay. This one's got custom pins in it. Really happy with this drunken spool. It started out as one of the serrated spools that came in an American. And so the bottom bit of that one is just the bottom bit of an American serrated spool. And then the top of it, I just like ground it away so that it's... Oh no, some shit's going down over here now. I got distracted. Okay. Should have flipped it around. I wasn't paying enough attention. Okay. Awesome. Tweezers. Okay. You can't really get those in frame at the same time, but that's alright. Maybe I'll do this. Okay. So, alright, there. Now I can sort of get them all in frame. I need to get a better way of holding these. Alright, just do it like this. Alright. So, over here in one, we got like a sort of spool for the key pin. It's mostly just a really big serration. And then I did my best attempt at an angry little barrel there. And that just barely doesn't result in a zero lift pick. I like measured it out to be, I wanted the spring on that to be as weak as possible, so it's like as short as it can be while still stopping the lock from turning. But that's true of both of these. These are actually the same heights. Over here I did this like tornado mushroom thing to go with I tried to do like steps on that spool, but it kind of just turned into a spool with a ramp under it. But like, hey, you know, whatever, it's all right. That works pretty good. Either way, it's mostly about how thin the head of the spool is with this here. Now, over here in 3, this is that drunken spool of death, I guess. All I did for this guy is I put my saw down in the existing serrations on the key pin to get them to be deeper and wider. And for this guy, I left the serration on there where it was and kind of added a couple of little ones on the stick. And that's just a piece of rod. That's nothing special about that. Over here in 4, the serrated pin here kind of is just a standard. That doesn't matter. It barely goes in. This thing, very little lift is required. So I figured I might as well make it shaped like a baseball bat to have the handle hook up. And that seems to work. That thing's kind of a jerk. I think I might try to get a weaker spring under here. That might be fun. That might be the way to go. Now, obviously, you guys are interested in this. This is a pin, like, for clothing, like for sewing. I found a pin, and I chopped it down. And, you know, before I take that off there, I'm going to squeeze it, if I can. Oh, this is going to be awkward. So you can see, if only barely, you can see that it does stick out through the bottom there. And the idea with this should be clear, but if it's not, when you lift that pin into place and the lock enters a false set, the smaller pin should, like the smaller diameter pin part, should slip down and act like a spontaneously occurring T-pin, I guess. Now, some experimentation does do its job pretty well, but I think this part of the spring, which is basically the main part of the spring, could be a little stronger. I don't know, full spring didn't work. Full spring was too much. Once the spring was compressed, it took up too much space in the slot. So, in the chamber. So I had a half spring, and that seems to work alright, but I think if this could be a little bit more powerful, that would be better. And the key pin under there is completely standard, because gotta throw somebody a single bone somewhere. Over here, we've got a standard serrated spool. It's just a little dirty. There's nothing on there, like cut-wise. It's just some muck. And this is another one of those sewing pins. And this one I actually clamped it. I actually clamped that in the chuck of my drill and whapped on it a little bit with a hammer to flatten it a little more. And then I found a pin that was sized right for the key if I put the head down on top of it, which was a little bit hard to eyeball, but I managed to get it in the end. And then the way that this works is I drilled a hole right through it. I shouldn't have taken those apart. I drilled a hole right through this. Drill a hole right through it. Eek. This guy goes in there. Why is everything magnetized? When did this happen? Oh, maybe the pin is magnetized. Shit. The pin is doing it. Okay. Well, I can't, that's kind of hampering my ability to demonstrate that properly, but they're about the same length. So the very, very tip of this sort of sticks out the bottom of there. Which ultimately, like, if I wanted to do things properly, the brass pin would be shorter than it needs to be even more, and this steel pin would be the length of the key, the necessary length of the key pin. I don't want to do that because this one's riding on the tip, so it's a little bit wonky to do shit like that if it doesn't have a nice flat surface on the key to sit on. But if it did, then this brass pin could be even shorter, and then when the key is in there, it would float this up, like the brass key pin wouldn't be what is pressing against the driver pin anymore. It would be the top of that. As it is now, it all presses against there, and if you go in there with like a thin tipped pick, because I was trying with like a high reach from Sparrows, which kind of has a pointy tip, it was slipping up in that tip and pushing this further than it needed to, and it turns it into a spool pin basically when you do that, and then you'll get this hooked up, and then this will drop out, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's good. It's not good. It's not good, but it feels good when you hit that with the pick. So it's like, I was able to pick this, but this is one of those things where it's like a bit of luck and knowing exactly what's inside of this lock and having taken a reference photo to look at and having the key sitting next to me, and I literally just assembled it yesterday and remember everything that's in it because I made it myself. That all helps a lot when you're trying to pick nonsense like that. But, to be fair, all yesterday I was trying to pick this thing and it was like, no, it's never happening. I don't even know what language this lock is speaking for me to understand. And today I managed to pick it, so I don't know if, like, we sort of started learning how to understand each other, or if this was more along the lines of complete luck, fate thing. I don't know. But, oh, there go my tweezers. Anyway, I just wanted to share that, because I said y'all should get a look at this one, so that's true. Here you go. There's the look. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Have yourselves a good one.